Okay, class, this is the last section of chapter 1 that we're going to look at, which requires a short little lesson here. I just wanted to talk through this solving triangles flowchart. It's also found in your textbook in section 1.6 on page 43. This is a slightly different flowchart, but the same idea. You're just going to be following through solving triangles is the goal, and we're being asked certain questions, yes, no answers lead us to the proper strategy. So if it is a right triangle, yes, we could use primary trigonometric ratios, or we could use Pythagorean theorem, depending on what was required. If we need to relate two sides to find an angle, we could use either tangent, cosine, or sine. And if it's not a right triangle, we call those oblique triangles. That's the topic for this section. Then we could either use the sine law or the cosine law, and the final fork in the flowchart here just has us answering this question: do you have an angle and its opposite side? If you do, you can use the sine law, and if you don't, you have to use the cosine law. Sine questions for this section are going to be a little different. I've selected 7 from pages 48 and 49, and I want you to go through each of these 7. In one, I'd like you to do the sage and scribe. I may have introduced this in class already, but I'll just explain it now. In sage and scribe, you have a partner. One person would explain their solution verbally. The other person writes down on paper what they think the partner is saying. The person who records doesn't talk, can't ask any questions. You can give hand gestures or nods, but it's supposed to be a verbal explanation, and then the scribe is just doing the writing. Choose one of the problems for that, and then you can switch with your partner. They can be the sage and you can be the scribe. So that takes 2 of the 7 problems out of your list. For the third, I'd like you to pick one of the problems that you haven't already solved and solve it on your own using your Educations account, which we've set up. Post your finished video from your personal account. I'll view them and I'll give you any feedback in class if necessary. For one of the remaining 4 questions, you and 2 or 3 other, you and a group of 2 or 3 can get together and use one of the accounts for one group member and post a finished video of your education solution for that problem. In that case, I'm looking for everyone to be involved, so there should be audio from each person. There should be some writing from at least one group member, if not everyone involved. And there should be some picture or visual that at least one person, or ideally everyone in the group, has had a hand in creating, either taking a picture or drawing a diagram or labeling it. For the remaining questions, you can just solve those in your notebook. And for this section, I won't collect the feedback problem unless you're wanting me to look over one of the remaining questions. Otherwise, I'll look at your posted videos in Educations and you'll use those for feedback. Okay, so here's my iPad screen, just shared with the smartboard. So you can see I've got my apps grouped in different folders. I find that just an easy way to organize it. So I have an education folder, and then within that I have several apps, and the one I like to use a lot in math is Educations. So you should be setting up an account for this lesson. You'll need it for 2 of the questions at least. And the first thing you'll want to do if you open up an iPad and you open up the Educations app is just check to see that someone else isn't logged in. If they are, log them out, and then you're going to want to log in. Now, if you have an account already, you can log in as you've done before. If you're creating an account from for the first time, you're going to create it as a student, and then when you do that, you're going to be prompted for a class code. Okay, the class code for our course is QADGBMZ, all capitals. Okay, once you've entered that, it'll prompt you to set up your account details, first name, last name, the email that it connects to this account, and you create a password and confirm it. Once you've done that, you can enter into the app. Okay, so here I am logged in. As the teacher, I have access to the student account, so use an appropriate username. I have everyone in the class listed. Again, the class code is shown there on the screen. When I want to view student work, I just simply select on the students, and up will come the appropriate material that they've included. So Cameron Ladyman had created a lesson 48 minutes ago and shared it with the class, and it was well done. And then some other students this year have also done the same. For your purposes, what you're going to want to do when you create your own lesson is you're going to go to your home screen here, and you're going to, if you have a draft already on the go, you'll have to continue editing that. I have a draft in this account, and I only have the ability to open up one draft at a time. So you have to save it as a finished video if you want to be able to start another lesson. So your lesson you're going to create is going to be the solution to your problem. You're going to be explaining it as if you were talking to a partner or as if you were talking to me, and just speak naturally and don't be worried about making mistakes. When you go and create a lesson, you're going to see that there's simple functionality. You can draw with the pen tools, you can erase, you can add audio to your document. Once you've added the audio, you can't edit it so easily, so be mindful of when you want to speak and what you want to say. You can add pictures if you want from your camera roll. If you want, you can take a picture, which will prompt you to bring up the camera tool. And once you've done that, you can snap a picture. There's a cool shot. Me taking a picture of taking a picture. All right, I can use that photo, add it to my document, change the size, move it around a little bit. And if I want, I can add a text box, and you get the idea. So when you decide that you've explained your problem, and if you want, you can add things like line paper to the background, or graph paper, use a coordinate grid if you wanted to draw a graph. If you decide later that you want to add an extra page, you can do that up here. You can duplicate, get a new page to your text. There's some stuff I did before. If you don't like what you see on the page and you want to just have an additional page for continuing your solution, you can do that as well. At some point, you're going to want to wrap it up, and you're going to save the finished videos in the top left-hand corner. You can exit out of this by either saving the draft if you're not quite done, or if you want to save the finished video, that'll bring up this lesson details. All I'm looking for here is just a description of page number, section number in the textbook, maybe the date, and if you want to add anything else in your description field, you can. If there was partners involved, you would want to include that, worked with partners' names, and when you're finished, you save that, and as soon as you do that, you will find it appearing in the class list, which is how I can access it. Okay? So at this point, we'll go back to just the assigned work of the format that I was looking for there. So I'm going to return to the notebook file, and just remind you that for this section, I'm looking to select a variety of different problems. The Sage and Scribe problem should be two, one with you dictating, one with you recording. Other questions can be done in your notebook, and then the two educations accounts, either yours or someone from your groups, can be posted, and we'll have class time to work on that. See you tomorrow.